family a couple times as well. It's actually my youngest son's favorite place. A couple years ago, we actually said, Dad, can I have my 7th birthday at Isla Palenque, which I thought was a good ask of a kid, but a little bit unrealistic, I think, when you're 7 years old to fly all your friends down to Panama, but he loved it that much. So Isla Palenque is actually part of the Cayuga collection. You guys are probably familiar. We represent all their properties. They're mostly all in Costa Rica. We have the one property up in Nicaragua, Jicarilla Island, but Isla Palenque is the only one in Panama. Cayuga is a real leader in sustainable travel, sustainable hospitality, led by Hans Pfister, which you probably met at different travel shows. This is where it is, down in Panama. And so starting out, obviously, to get here, you have to fly into Panama City. And I just want to make a note of this, just showing some of the flight times to get to Panama City from the US, from major gateways in the US. It's often overlooked. I mean, Panama is one of the best connected airports in the Americas. I mean, they call it the crossroads of the Americas. One thing as well is that, you know, the airline of Panama is Copa Airlines, and they're code shared with United. And every single time I fly down there, I get upgrades with points, no problem. So, you know, business or first class on Copa Airlines isn't anything spectacular, but it is an availability, and it's something to think about as well with clients, that there's that availability flying with Copa from most major cities to Panama. The other thing too is it's just like looking at the flight times. I think that, you know, if you have people that are used to going to resorts in the Caribbean or flying to Hawaii or even Mexico, suggest Panama to them. You know, Panama, you have year-round tropical destination, but you have so much more by flying into Panama City, just by spending a day or two in the city before you go to a place like Isla Palenque, where they can get their beach chill out time at. So it's just, it's really convenient. And also the Panama airport, we do have a lot of clients as well that come to stay at Palenque that are maybe doing trips in South America, and they fly via Copa, where they have a stopover in Panama. Copa allows you to stop over and spend multiple days in Panama. So it works really well if you're doing other stuff in South America. On the way back, you can stop in Panama City and then go, you know, spend a couple days on the beach in Panama, because a lot of the countries in South America, bar Brazil and some others, don't really have a lot of beach destinations to them. So the opportunity to fly into Panama City is great. I always say, if you're coming to Isla Palenque, just spend like at least one full day in Panama City. It's a beautiful metropolitan city. This is the kind of the downtown area. And then where most of the kind of boutique hotels are is what's called Casco Viejo, which is the old historic quarter of Panama City. And it's, you know, reminiscent of Cartagena or Havana de Cuba, with this beautiful kind of Caribbean Spanish architecture. It's a wonderful place just to roll, you know, stroll around, beautiful little shops. There's always music and stuff in the streets. So that's a good day. And then you've got the Panama Canal right there in the city as well. So this is particularly key with families that are looking like, hey, we want to do a family beach vacation, but, you know, just have some kind of educational component to the trip. It's awesome taking kids, and it's awesome going as an adult, but actually going with kids and actually letting them see the Panama Canal. I remember my kids, like, you know, we live in California, they study California history. When we finally went and saw it, they were intrigued, because they're like, yeah, we hear a lot about this. And we learned about the gold rush and about how the people used to come into California have to go through the Magellan Straits. But then with the Panama Canal, it increased the, you know, so they, like, my kids knew all about the Panama Canal before we even got there. So you've got Casco Viejo, you've got a bunch of cool museums, you've got the Panama Canal to visit in a day. And then that's just scratching the surface. I mean, from Panama City, you can go into the Gamboa rainforest. You can do the train along the Panama Canal. You can spend multiple days in Panama City in combination with going up to Isla Palenque. So Palenque is actually located up here, kind of in the western side of Panama, closer to the Caribbean border. You have to fly from Panama City to the town. It's called David. It looks like David, but it's pronounced David. So this is where it's at. This area is called the Gulf of Chiriquí. It's actually a marine reserve, which you'll see in the images. There's incredible marine wildlife in this area as well. So it's an easy 1-hour flight from Panama City to David to get there. This is just kind of a layout of Panama City. So you see, so this is the international airport where all the international flights will come in, Tucumán International Airport. And then this is Casco Viejo, which is the old historic district. And then this is the Panama Canal here. So most of the stuff when people fly into the city, this is kind of, you know, suburban area. This is more of the downtown business district. But then most tourists are coming over here to Casco Viejo and seeing the canal. The flights that go up to David, you can fly either from Tucumán from the international airport with Copa Airlines, but they only have like 1 or 2 flights a day. Most of the flights are leaving out of Albrook, which is the domestic airport here. This was actually the old U.S. Army base right next to the canal. So it's the old U.S. Army airstrip when the U.S. controlled the canal zone. So when people come in internationally, And they'll generally spend a night or so in Casco Viejo and then tour the canal and stuff. So getting from Casco Viejo over to the domestic airport, it gets like a 15-minute hop. So it works really well flying into and out of there. If people are flying in, so a lot of the Copa flights that are red eyes will get in really early in the morning at the international airport, and then they can connect directly with the Copa flights up to David. But most people are spending a day or two in Panama City, and then we'll fly from the domestic airport up with Air Panama to get up to David and to where Isla Palenque is located. Once guests have arrived in David, it's an hour drive. This is not included. This is an additional to the rates. But we'll pick the guest up at the David airport, and then it's an hour drive down kind of the principal highway, the Panamericana, before you cut off and come down to the small fishing village called Boca Chica. Once you get to Boca Chica, we have our boat. We'll be waiting there at the dock, and then it's a 15-minute ride out by boat to get out to Isla Palenque, which is here at the tip of what's called Boca Brava. This is actually Isla Palenque here. So you've got the hour flight from Panama City to David, an hour drive, and then 15 minutes by boat to get to Isla Palenque. So this is the dock of Isla Palenque when guests arrive, and this is just an aerial shot looking at the island. So this is a private island. It's 400 acres. It's got like 14 beaches on it. It's just rad. And actually in here is actually where the beach club and the rooms are mainly on the island. So this is kind of a more infographic map. So this is the pier where people are arriving, but actually the accommodations are on the other side of the island. So we're going to look first at this where the Playa Palenque Sur beach is, kind of the main beaches here, which we just saw from the aerial shot, where we have kind of the main installations on the island. So you have this 400-acre island, but we only have 8 rooms and we have 1 villa on the island. So it's like the island is very much untouched. This along the main beach, this is what's called Las Rocas Beach Club. So that's kind of the pool, bar, and main restaurant for the entire resort is located here. So this is just an aerial shot looking down at the pool area, the cabanas, the hammock areas and lounge areas. So this is where most people spend their day, is just chilling, reading books, drinking cocktails with umbrellas in them, living life large here in the hammocks. It's a wonderful place to hang out. And it's right beachfront. So that's the view from the pool looking out onto the water there. This is where the main restaurant is as well. We actually don't have a whole lot of pictures here because it's often so dark to get pictures in here because the Palapa extends so far down, to ward off from tropical rain showers and stuff. But these are all the meals are served in the rates at Palenque. The 3 meals a day are included and non-alcoholic beverages, which is great. Anything additional, people want like bar food and stuff, that's an additional. And then, obviously alcoholic beverages are gone to people's room tabs. Fantastic food, with part of Cayuga collection and their commitment to sustainability, they run a program called Dock to Dish. So a lot of the stuff that's served there depends on what the local fishermen catch over the previous day. So it's all super fresh, coming straight from local fishermen, what's served there. They have a great menu that they do each day of what's caught and what's kind of new and fresh the chef's doing. And then they have their a la carte menu of like pastas and burgers and stuff like that people want just as comfort foods, and fantastic cocktails as well. I've tried them all multiple times. I can attest that they're wonderful. So this main beach, it's probably a mile long, beautiful sandy beach. This is the beach club. And then down here, we have the 8 beachfront casitas. So these are all the same. And as you can see, they're kind of set back into the jungle a little bit from the beach. So as you walk down the beach from the beach club, and then you walk in, this is the view of the little villas. And they kind of said they build these almost as a coconut. So there's like the hard shell of it. And then they have this, the palapa style thing on top just to protect it from the elements of the tropical forest. This is kind of, you can see the reflection of the ocean in the sliding glass doors there of the casitas. So all these casitas are the same. No, not one is bigger or smaller than the other. They're all the same layout here. So these obviously have a king bed in them, but they will actually sleep up to 4 in that. This day bed will fold out and that'll be an additional bed. And then they can bring an additional bed in too. I will note, like I've been there with my kids, both that were under 12, and we slept the 4 in one of the rooms, and it's pretty tight when they bring in the 3rd bed. I think it's like kind of 3 is more comfortable in these rooms. They can bring in an extra bed so 4 can sleep in it. It's a little bit cramped, but it's just cool because, so many hotels and resorts have like real limits in terms of how many people can sleep in a room. So the fact that they're willing to allow 4 people in one of these casitas is great when you have a family of 4, rather than having to book out 2 individual villas. So, and these are fully air conditioned as well. And that's the view looking from the patio out towards the main beach there. And you can see there's hammocks along these. Some have these kind of rope made hammocks. Others have free flowing hammocks on them as well. And that's I love this picture just of the shadows looking out down at one of the beachfront casitas and the pathway down to the beach and people there. So, you know, as I said in the introduction, this really has this like Robinson Crusoe vibe. You know, you kind of feel like you're just like shipwrecked on this tropical island. There's, you know, 8 casitas, 1 villa on a 400-acre island. So you have so much wilderness to explore while you're there. These casitas, one unique feature is actually the bathrooms outside. I mean, the toilet's inside, but to get out to where the sinks and the showers and the bathtub is, they're actually outdoors. So out the back of the casitas, you go out the back door and you have this open air bathroom and beautiful, beautiful bathtubs in the back as well, just with all the tropical foliage around it. So those are the 8 beachfront casitas. And then we're going to look over on the other side of the island. We have what's called a villa estate. So this is a 6-bedroom villa. On the other side of the island. And we have little vehicles, little vans that obviously pick people up at the pier and to bring them over to the casitas and Las Rocas Beach Club. And then also people are staying here, so they could just pick up the phone and call, and then one of the little vehicles come by and take them wherever they need to go on the island. This is only maybe like a 3 or 4 minute drive from where Las Rocas Beach Club is, or you can walk the road to get there as well. So this is the beachfront estate. So it has 6 bedrooms. We can have a maximum of 14 guests here. So we do this only as a buyout. We have some people that'll buy it out 2 to 4 people if they just want more exclusivity and don't want the individual casitas. This does have its own little private beach there just in front of it as well, and a beautiful pool on it. So, and just show you a couple pictures of the interior. So again, it's pretty much all open air, but there is air conditioning in this as well, because year round it's pretty hot and humid in this area of Panama. But really cool views is kind of almost looking back towards the mainland a bit. And you can see this area of the Gulf of Chiriquí. There's so many islands just dotted all throughout this. So again, a couple more pictures of the accommodations in there, the bathtubs in the main villa as well. Here, when you're staying here, the chef comes and does breakfast every morning in the villa estate. But then lunch and dinner is done actually at Las Rocas Beach Club. We can, if guests want to have it fully private, we can at additional cost have another chef come in to do all meals here at the villa estate. But you know, I think most people that stay here, it's kind of going over to the beach club, reggae music's going, the cocktails. It's kind of it's a good vibe over there. So a lot of people staying at this villa estate, they want to get over to the other side of the island and be with other guests and stuff during their time staying there, if they're staying there for a week or so. So that kind of covers accommodations again. So the 8 beachfront casitas here, and then we have the villa estate over here. Included in the rates are pretty much all the excursions, minus a couple, which I'll denote, that are additional cost. But this is a great thing that most people are coming here want a lot of time to chill. But if you ever want to take a break from chilling, there's plenty to do every day, and it kind of it changes each day as far as what's on offer. So some of the stuff that they do every day, they do cooking classes in the evening. They're at the Palapa, so they'll do like empanadas, they'll do ceviches, just depending upon what the chef wants to prepare. So the cooking classes are always a hit for adults and for families alike. For kids, they often do arts and crafts things, whether it'll be painting stuff, whether it be carving coconuts, whether it be bracelet making. Those are they'll just be on a board at the beach club saying this is happening at 2 or 3 o'clock. And they're always open. If people say my kid really wants to do X, Y, or Z, they'll generally, arrange it during the stay so they can do that. One of the kind of sustainability projects on the island is that this all of the furniture you see throughout the island is all done from hardwood that's fell on the island. And they do all the furniture that's at the resort is done by local artisans on the island, but they also sell this in boutiques in Panama City. So you can visit the local artisan workshop on the island to see them doing the woodworking, which is really fascinating, and learning about all these different tropical hardwoods that exist in the forest there in Panama. And then there's a lot of hikes on the island. So obviously it's a 400-acre island. There's tons of different trails to do, and they'll do kind of a morning and an afternoon or sunrise and sunset walks for guests that want to join these. And these will range from, we have bird watching walks. There's an incredible array of bird life to see on the island. The island is full of wildlife, particularly howler monkeys. I mean, it's just teeming with howler monkeys. It's dealing with squirrel monkeys, capuchin monkeys. So you're gonna see monkeys above your casita. You're gonna see them from the beach club. You're gonna see them on walks. There's monkeys all over the place. So you're gonna see a lot of wildlife on this island. One of our more popular walks called the 7 Beaches Walk. Obviously, only 2 of the 14 beaches on the island is where we have installations with the rooms and the villa, but the rest of the beaches are completely deserted. So we do have one route that goes via 7 of the deserted beaches, exploring the beach side there. This island as well is really unique that it was, there is a land bridge that connects it to mainland. And so this has been inhabited for thousands and thousands of years. And actually, when you go into the interior of the island, there's tons of pottery shards and different kind of ruins on the island. So we do have a walk, it's called Secrets of the Island, where they talk about the cultural and human history on the island. And you're literally walking down trails and just picking up, handfuls and handfuls of pottery shards with different paintings on them. So that's super fascinating. We do yoga classes daily as well. Down at the beach club, we've got a whole armament of stand-up paddle boards there at the beach club, so guests can take these out for a paddle anytime they want. If people want to go to more kind of excluded parts of the island, we can transport them to the other side of the island, and they can paddleboard over there. So the paddleboarding is great. You can take a paddleboard out anytime you want to go paddle around the beach there. We also have kayaks. The kayaks are actually on the other side of the island, kind of the arrival pier. And there's some really cool paddles there around the island. There's this amazing cave you go in that's like full of bats, if you're into that. But it's freaks some people out, but it's actually pretty cool to paddle into this thing and then look up and all these bats are like flying out of it. One of my favorite activities, and actually my kids' favorite thing, is just rock fishing. It's just a simple activity, and we go out with the local people. With like some of these guys are the maintenance guys on the island, and they this is how they fish locally. Just the hand reel, get some fresh bait, throw it out, reel it in by hand, and it's always a blast because you always catch stuff here. There's so much marine wildlife, and it's just fun. Like with the local people, a lot of the guests don't speak any Spanish, but these guys don't speak any English, but fishing is fishing, right? Everybody knows the excitement of catching a fish. So this is a really fun activity that they do most every day. So that's kind of a variety of some of the stuff that's on the island. And then one of the things that is an additional cost is our island hopping trip. This is kind of a highlight for a lot of people. I'd say most people do this at least once during their stay, is doing island hopping, where we take off by boat through the Gulf of Chiriquí, just going and hopping around different islands and seeing different marine life. There's always tons of dolphins here. I mean, you're going to see dolphins 110% when you head out by boat there. And there's just a variety of really cool islands, from like super white sand beach islands that are really small that you can walk around, to just white atolls sticking out, to little rocky outcrops. Sorry, I let my dog out. All right. So with the island hopping, it is what it is. You're hopping around islands. We'll do super cool picnics on one of the islands, and this changes, every day, depending upon what island we're going to do that at. There's also great little, reefs to go and snorkel at as well during it. If people are scuba divers, we don't have a dive operation on the island, but there's a subcontractor nearby that we do use, so we can include scuba diving if people want to scuba dive while they're there. The island hopping is more snorkeling, going and checking out, exploring different deserted islands and having a good beach picnic. This area as well is key for whale watching. This marine reserve is actually a pupping area where these are humpback whales that come into this area, and they give birth in these areas, kind of from this area up into the Gulf of Dulce near Osa Peninsula in Costa Rica. So the whales come down here to give birth to their pups, and then once their pups are strong enough, then they migrate back north. So the whale watching season here, if I remember correctly, I'll be reminded on my next slide, but it's pretty much from August through October is when they're there. So that brings us to seasons. So this is the kind of the way the seasons are broken down. The dry season, where it hardly ever rains, is from December to mid-April, which is obviously our high season. Going April through September is the green season, where you'll kind of get, you'll maybe get a rain shower each day in the afternoon. It'll generally, clouds will build up and then they'll release in the afternoon, and then it'll be clear again. And then the rainy season, October through mid-December, it's our lowest occupancy time. Super fun time to actually go there. I've been there, and I mean, yeah, you get rain a couple times a day, but I feel like half the time when I'm there, I'm like sitting in a hammock, reading a book, drinking a cocktail, and I just love watching the rain come down. And then you have dry spells between it, which you can go out and explore. So to me, it doesn't really ruin the trip. This is also, since we're on this side of Panama, we're out of a hurricane belt, so you don't get hurricanes that come through here like you would on the Caribbean side of the Central American Isthmus. And then also looking at this, so kind of the green season into the rainy season is when the whales come as well. So people really want to see whales and want to be there. August through October is when they're going to be there. And I'm just putting in here some rates. And this is obviously from rates. I'll send an email to everybody afterwards with all the marketing materials and rate information. But the Beachfront Casitas start from $800 per casita per night. And then the villa stay starts from 2,400 per night. And these are low season rates. It obviously goes up based on in high season, but this is kind of a from rate, but I'll send the rate sheet afterwards. And that is it, short and sweet. I'm going to see if anybody has. Looks like Turney, you were just kind of answering questions here.
Yep, pretty much.
While we were going. Okay. Cool. So actually what I'll do, unless anybody has any other, so average length of stay, I mean, I would say 3 to 4 nights. You know, I would say probably 4 would be ideal. Some people come for 3. We have some people that come for a week. It just depends. I mean, again, you have this great combination of a great place to chill, plus you have a lot to do in the area. Some people also will combine this, is that one of the other attractions I didn't put pictures of in here, but when you fly into David, one of the area nearby is the coffee areas of Boquete. So Boquete is like an hour-and-a-half drive from David, and Boquete is about an hour drive down to Boca Chica, where you take the boat out to the island. So some people, if they're touring, if they want to add another component there, maybe do 3 nights on the islands and do 2 nights in Boquete. That's kind of the highland, more like cloud forest coffee producing region. So that's one thing that people will do in this area. And we actually do have excursions. We actually do day trips. If people really want to go see Boquete, they can stay there and do like a day trip up to Boquete during the day and come back. It's a long day, but some people do that. And there's some great walks there. It's reminiscent of like Monteverde in Costa Rica, where there's like hanging bridges and observation towers and stuff for wildlife. We have all the snorkel gear. You really don't need a wetsuit anytime year round. Martha, great thing that I was not gonna talk about, but I should talk about. Can you connect here from Costa Rica? Yes. And actually, I'm gonna go back to my map, because we do have people, and it ties in with another property we represent, which is Lapa Rios in Costa Rica. That's probably the most, or anybody going to kind of the Osa Peninsula area. So Golfito, Puerto Jimenez, and the south of, where's my map? Yeah. So this is the Osa Peninsula. Can you see my pointer? Yeah. So this is the Osa Peninsula here. You've got Lapa Rios Lodge here. There's airports in Puerto Jimenez and one in Golfito, which you can fly from San Jose down to this area. So we do have people that come and are staying at Lapa Rios that want to come and connect with Palenque. Pretty much from the Golfito airport, which is here, Puerto Jimenez is maybe about 30 minutes from Golfito. It's about here. You go over, and then it's about an hour drive to get to the border, do border formalities. Vehicles can't cross over, so we generally would coordinate this between, you know, whatever your DMC in Costa Rica or a property like Lapa Rios, get you to the border, and then have our staff pick them up at the border crossing, which is called Paso Canoa. And then it's about an hour. It's about an hour and a half to get to Boca Chica. Actually, probably 2 hours to get to Boca Chica and then the island. So it is a long day to do it, but people do it. There is also the option, if you're out on the Osa Peninsula, you can actually take a boat across the Golfo Dulce, and they get dropped off over at, what's the name of the place? It's one of the best surf breaks. Anyways, that's another way. Some people will do like a crossing of the Gulf by boat and then be picked up over here and then drive across. So that's the best way to connect it. But I would say a lot of people that are traveling around through Costa Rica, another thing is you can just fly from San Jose to Panama City and then do the flight to David as another option on that. And I think there's even some airline that does a flight a couple of times a week from San Jose to David, if that happened maybe last season. Okay. I think we're good. What I'll do for follow-up, Sophia is asking, how long is the boat from David to Isla Palenque? So it's actually an hour. You must have come in late, Sophia. This is what happens when you come late. But it's an hour drive from David to Boca Chica, then a 15-minute boat ride to Isla Palenque. But what I'm going to do, we'll look through all this chat here and the questions that were asked, and we'll put together a question and answer sheet and send this as follow-up with the recording of the webinar, plus all the sales and marketing materials here, because we're getting close to 30 minutes here, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, because you got to get to selling Isla Palenque for us after this immediately.
Clark, also just wanted to mention that I will be leading a fam trip to Isla Palenque, basically the same thing that you saw in this presentation. We'll do 2 nights Panama City, the American Trade Hotel, go visit San Lorenzo Fort on the Caribbean side and see the canal, and do some exploring of Casco Viejo, a little city tour, and some fine dining. So from there, we'll go to Isla Palenque for 3 nights. We have 6 casitas available. So we'll send a questionnaire. If you're interested, please fill it out. And yeah, we would love to have you join. It's the best way to learn it, is come see it.
Right on. Okay, thanks, Tony. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that. All right, everybody. Dates of the fam. We'll send all this in the email as follow-up.
Yeah, October 19th to the 25th or 4th.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Everybody, thank you. Have a great day. Lovely to see your faces.
Thanks, everyone.